Everyone tells you just pull clips from your episode like it's obvious, but nobody tells you how to pick the right moments. And the difference between a clip that gets 200 views and a clip that gets 20,000 views is almost entirely about which moment you choose. Short form is the movie trailer. Long form is the movie. A great trailer makes you want to see the movie, but you don't walk out of a trailer feeling like you know the characters. Short form content equals attention. Long form content equals trust. Here's a question I get from almost every client when we're setting up their content strategy. They say, should I be on TikTok? Do I need to post on Instagram every day? What about YouTube Shorts? And here's what I usually find when I dig in. They're spending 10, 12, sometimes 15 hours a week on content, filming separate Instagram reels, writing standalone LinkedIn posts, recording a podcast, sending a newsletter, every single piece created from scratch. All independent, all requiring fresh ideas and fresh energy. And the result? Nothing connects. The Instagram clips have nothing to do with the podcast episodes. The LinkedIn posts are about completely different topics than the newsletter. It's 5 separate content strategies that happen to be run by the same person. Maximum effort, minimum cohesion. If that sounds familiar, this episode is going to change things for you. Today, I'm going to show you how short form and long form content should actually work together. The framework, the correct ratio, and most importantly, exactly how to pick the right moments from a long episode to turn into clips that actually drive people back to the full thing. Because that's the part nobody's teaching properly. Here's the core distinction, and once you hear this, everything else makes sense. Short form content equals attention. That's its entire job. A 30-second clip can reach someone who has never heard of you and give them a reason to click your profile. That's it. Not to build trust, not to convert anyone, just to get the click. Just to get the who is this person moment. Long form content equals trust. A 25-minute podcast episode does something a 30-second clip simply cannot do. It shows how you think, how you explain things, how you handle nuance. It's the medium through which strangers become fans and fans become clients. Here's the analogy I use, and I think it's perfect. Short form is the movie trailer. Long form is the movie. A great trailer makes you want to see the movie, but you don't walk out of a trailer feeling like you know the characters. The relationship forms during the movie. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're a financial planner and you do an episode about the 5 biggest retirement mistakes business owners make. 22 minutes, detailed, nuanced, really valuable stuff. Now imagine you pull one 35-second clip where you say something like, most business owners are paying themselves the minimum retirement contribution and they're thinking they're being smart. They're not being smart, they're borrowing from their 60-year-old self to pay their 40-year-old self. That's the kind of clip that stops someone mid-scroll. It's punchy, it's slightly provocative, and it makes the viewer go, wait, am I doing that? And now they want to hear the full 22-minute episode where you explain the complete picture, where you build that trust, where they hear how you actually think, and some of those listeners are going to book a discovery call. That's the system in action. The clip got the attention, the episode built the trust. The discovery call converted the client. Short form and long form working together, not separately. Let me give you the practical allocation. Because frameworks are great, but you need to know what to actually do with your time. Spend 80% of your creative energy on one high-quality, long-form piece per week. That's your anchor content, your podcast episode, the thing that carries the weight of your message. Spend 20% of your creative energy extracting short-form content from that long-form piece. not creating new ideas for each platform, extracting, taking what's already there and reformatting it. And here's why this matters in real terms. If you're currently spending 15 hours a week creating content for 5 platforms independently, switching to this ratio could cut that to 5 or 6 hours while actually producing more total pieces of content. Because you're not reinventing the wheel every time, you're extracting from what you've already created. Most business owners have it completely backwards. They're creating 20 separate social media posts and one poorly planned podcast episode. All the effort goes into the fragments and almost nothing goes into the main thing. Flip it. One excellent episode and everything else is extracted from it. That's the ratio. All right, this is the part I really want to dig into, because everyone tells you just pull clips from your episode like it's obvious, but nobody tells you how to pick the right moments. And the difference between a clip that gets 200 views and a clip that gets 20,000 views is almost entirely about which moment you choose. After producing clips for over 50 clients across hundreds and hundreds of episodes, I've identified 5 types of moments that consistently perform as short form content. 5 types. And I'm going to walk you through each one so you know exactly what to look for when you're reviewing your own episodes. Type 1, the contrarian take. This is a moment where you say something that goes against conventional wisdom. Something that makes the viewer stop scrolling because it challenges what they believe. Think about it this way. If you're a marketing consultant and during your episode, you say something like, if your website has a blog that nobody reads, you'd be better off deleting it entirely than publishing one more post nobody asked for. That's 15 seconds. It's controversial. It's going to make some people furious, and every single furious person is going to click through to hear the full argument. Because they want to disagree, but they need to hear your reasoning first. That tension, that, wait, what? Reaction, that's what makes a contrarian clip work. Type 2, the specific number or result. Audiences love specificity. Anytime you mention a concrete number, a percentage, a dollar figure, a time frame, that's a potential clip. Because vague advice is forgettable. Specific results are magnetic. So for example, imagine saying in your episode, we took a podcast from 0 to 3,000 monthly listeners in 4 months by doing 3 things. Or this one change to our episode titles increased our click-through rate by 40%. The viewer immediately wants to know, what were the 3 things? What was the change? The number creates a curiosity gap that the full episode fills. So when you're recording, anytime you catch yourself saying a specific number or a specific result, make a mental note. That's probably a clip. Type 3, the relatable struggle. This is a moment where you describe a pain point so accurately that the viewer feels seen. It's not advice, it's empathy. And it works incredibly well because people share things that make them feel understood. Here's what I mean. Imagine you say on your show, I spent 6 months posting on LinkedIn every single day, custom graphics, thoughtful captions, hashtag research, and in 6 months, I got exactly 2 inbound leads. 2. Meanwhile, my podcast, which I was treating as an afterthought, generated 12. Every business owner who's ever felt like they're screaming into the void on social media sees themselves in that. They share it. They tag their friends and they say, this is literally me. The clip works because it's not teaching anything yet. It's just making someone feel understood. And that emotional connection is what pulls them into the full episode where you do teach them the solution. Type 4, the light bulb framework. This is a moment where you explain something in a way that makes a complex idea suddenly simple. A metaphor, an analogy, a reframe, something that makes the viewer go, oh, I never thought of it like this. The movie trailer analogy I used earlier in this episode is a good example of this. Short form is a trailer, long form is a movie. That's a 10-second clip that reframes how someone thinks about their entire content strategy. Those moments are gold because they're shareable. People screenshot them, they put them in their notes, they send them to their friends, they send them to their business partners, and they say, we need to think about this. Another example, imagine you say your podcast isn't a marketing channel, it's a relationship accelerator that happens to also be content. 7 seconds, complete reframe. That kind of clip will outperform anything tactical you post because it shifts how people see the whole game. When you're reviewing your episode, listen for these reframe moments. You'll know them because they're the bits that feel almost too simple. Like, oh, that's just a one-liner. Those one-liners are your best clips. Type 5, the vulnerable admission. This is the one most people are afraid of because it's a moment where you admit a mistake, share a failure, or reveal something that you got wrong. And it is consistently the highest performing type of clip. Across all our clients, consistently. I'll give you one of mine as an example. Imagine if I say this. I wasted the first 2 years of podcasting because I was so obsessed with audio quality that I forgot to actually say anything interesting. I had the best sounding, boring podcast on the internet. That kind of moment gets shared more than almost anything else because it's honest, it's self-deprecating, and it gives people permission to stop being perfectionists and start being useful. If you have a moment in your episode where you admit you got something wrong or you share a real failure, don't cut it. That's your clip. So those are your 5 types: the contrarian take, the specific number, the relatable struggle, the light bulb framework, and the vulnerable admission. When you're reviewing an episode to pick your clips, you're scanning for these 5 things, not just what sounds good, what fits one of these 5 categories. That's the filter. That's what separates random clips from clips that actually drive people to the full episode. Now, here's where most people drop the ball. They create great clips, they publish the episode, but they never connect the two. The short form and the long form exist in separate worlds, and that's a massive waste because the whole point of the clip is to send people somewhere. Every clip needs to end with a specific reason to listen to the full episode, not a generic link in bio. Nobody cares about a link in bio. A specific reason that creates a curiosity gap. And the CTA changes depending on which type of clip you pulled. Let me walk you through this because it matters. If it's a contrarian take clip, your CTA is something like, I explain exactly why this is true and the 3 steps to do it yourself in the full episode. You're promising the reasoning behind the provocative statement. If it's a specific number clip, your CTA is, I break down the complete strategy behind this result in the full episode. You're promising the how behind the what. If it's a relatable struggle clip, your CTA is, in the full episode, I share the exact system I built to fix this. You've established the pain, now you're promising the solution. And if it's a light bulb framework clip, your CTA is, I walk through how to apply this to your own business step by step in the full episode. You've given them the insight, now you're promising the application. If it's a vulnerable admission clip, your CTA is, I shared what I changed and the results it led to in the full episode. You've shown the failure, now you're promising the comeback. See the pattern? Each CTA tells the viewer what more they'll get. It's not go listen, it's here's the specific value waiting for you if you do. This is the content ecosystem. Every platform feeds every other platform, and the podcast sits at the center. Everything else orbits it. Your assignment, go back to your most recent episode and find one moment for each of the 5 types I've described. The contrarian take, the specific number, the relatable struggle, the light bulb framework, and the vulnerable admission. You might not find all 5 in every episode, and that's fine. But I guarantee you'll find at least 3. Those are your clips. And for each one, write the matching CTA. One sentence that tells the viewer exactly what more they'll get from the full episode. That sentence goes on the clip as a text overlay or in the caption. Now, the next episode is a big one. We're going into business development, how to use your podcast to build genuine relationships with people that you actually want to work with. This is the episode that changes the way you think about sales, because it's not about selling at all. We'll see you in the next one. I'm Neil Mackay, the podcast guy, and this is Smarter Podcasting. Don't forget, follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Cheers.